Hello, everyone. This is John from AU Pack Mule. I guess I should put the microphone here, huh? How's it going, everybody? This is John. I appreciate you guys hanging in there while we get started. This is going to be another Game of Thrones Season 8 live stream with Rayz De Alba. Today is the day. Today actually is going to start in about 25 minutes for Ray. He still has some company in the house and didn't want it to be, any nudity in the background. So we're going to have just Ray on in a little bit. So thanks for staying with us. I hope everybody's having a great Monday. I don't know about you, but today with the time change, it was quite an interesting day. I had a lot of things going on and things just happened one right after another. I'm really glad you're here because this week we're going to have so many great guests, including Ray. But we'll also have Gemma from Secrets of the Citadel on tomorrow, Lady Gwen from from Radio Westeros on the 13th. Both of those will be happening 6 p.m. Eastern time. And then on Thursday, I've got a special occasion where I get to go to the Emerald City Comic-Con, where Gwendolyn Christie will be there, Robin Hobb, who's an excellent author on the Assassin series. I don't know if you guys have read that. And then on the 16th, we have Mackenzie L. Burns, and then Revengeance on the 17th. Axel Foley will be coming up on the 21st. Justin from Top Shelf Fandom. In Deep Geek will be on the 24th. Claire and Catherine will be on that week as well. On the 28th, we have Kevin from Bats Production. So I hope everybody's got their seatbelts on because it's going to be fun. I have a few days that are empty, but we have several guests that, as you can imagine, are, speaking of Revengeance, how's it going? Thanks for saying hello. By the way, if any of you are interested in doing a live stream with me, please check out the About section on my channel page, because there you will see not only a phone number where you can call or text me, but an email address, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and none of those I'll respond to. No, just kidding. Speaking of which, Johnny just sent me a Hangouts message earlier today, and so did Gemma from Secrets, and I didn't get to it until I just got home. So thanks for bearing with me, buddy. I really do appreciate it. But no, seriously, you can contact me there and we can arrange a time and we can find out what's best for you. Especially, speaking of which, Khaleesi Clues will be on, but we haven't committed to a day or a time. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully that'll happen before the 31st. But in the meantime, we are so excited to talk to Ray because, as you know, he has been in the community for a long time. I love his flavor, as they say. I love the way he presents his live streams with OBS. His expertise there has been excellent. I was actually going to do the live stream from OBS today, but then when I found out he was going to be a little bit late, we decided to just do Hangouts, make it easy so he could jump on real quick. Yeah, great lineups, T baby, and including yourself. I hope that you'll come back on and we'll do another day for the 30 days of live stream, because I know you're ready to talk about Jorah Mormont taking over and being king of Westeros. That is definitely. Speaking of which, my friend Tulkas420, who is the Silmarillion connection here for me. So thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. Lady Dreamfire is here. Danny McKay is here as always. Been here almost every day, so thank you for doing that. We have Peter Griffin, Linda R, Piece of Me Sands, awesome folks in here. The Dog Show is also here. Farmall Fanatic, by the way, if you guys are not connected, he has a channel that I've connected with over this fall through a live stream channel that they do a great job called Pusa Studios, Pusa Studios. They're out of Montreal, Canada, and they connect people like me and other creators, and super supportive community. Farmall does a great job with connecting to people that are on his live stream. So if you do like that community environment, please check him out for sure. OTDA David Adams is also here. And I am really excited to talk more Game of Thrones Season 8 with you, because we heard today from Winter is Coming that when Emilia Clarke, who plays obviously Daenerys Targaryen, finished reading her script, she had been wandering around just aimlessly because she wasn't sure exactly how to react to what had happened. And I think that's one of the things that we as creators find pretty interesting, because we think we know what's going to happen. But I think what's surprising is that we are going to get into these situations like with Shireen, with Hodor, with Jon coming back the way he did, and on and on and on, with Cersei still being alive, with Jorah Mormont coming back from Grayscale. I think all of those things. why T baby? Because I love you. That's why. But yeah, I think all of those things are going to be such pretty groundbreaking moments, and for sure, I definitely like the way that they're going to write this, and I'm praying to all seven that we do not get any more fingers in the bum quotes or anything stupid like that. I hope it's just pedal to the metal all the way until we can't take it anymore. And I think it was Renee that had posted the times from what I believe is IMDb, which can be sometimes not the best way to go, but checking it out on the cable network's feed and seeing what's available there. The first 3 episodes are going to be pretty much the normal 50, 60 minutes, roughly 55, 60 minutes, I should say. And then the last 3 episodes are going to be the 80, 90-minute range. I don't really care how they figure it out. As far as that's concerned, I don't expect there to be a 90-minute show every episode. It's just not the normal way that HBO works. But I think that having that extra time, even if it's just an hour and a half extra for the 6 episodes, that it'll be good. I think they'll tell the story well, based on what we've seen in regards to the production of the show. I have no doubt that we're going to get all of that. Speaking of great channels that are super supportive, ATJH Travels out of Pittsburgh, another Star Wars fan as well. Their family does great Disney and travel videos. They also do live streams all the time, talking to their community. So if you do like that, again, ATJH Travels, super channel. Thank you for being here. I really do appreciate it. John Del Vento is a great musician, and I really do appreciate you coming here and checking us out. And if you guys don't know him, look who's here, Chrissy of Old Stones. Chrissy, I don't know if you've gotten my text, emails, my drone messages, anybody that you might think is creepy there, but I've definitely sent messages to you asking for you to come on. So if you get a chance, please respond. I would love to have you on. I'd love to do some audio narration of the book, so that we can share with the fans. Coop 437 is here also. Hi from Montana. Yeah, you must be freezing out there, my friend, because that is really cold. I'm not sure where you're at exactly from in Montana, but I know the west side is just totally freezing. Jeff is here from Idiot of the Day. Thank you, my friend. Jeff is a great channel. It's called Idiot of the Day, and he live streams every day, sometimes 2 or 3 times a day, depending on his wife JoJo, if he'll let him. Thanks for coming on and checking this out. We're going to have a guest on in 15 minutes, Rayz De Alba, and he is super awesome, creator of Game of Thrones content. and I'm just really excited to get to what he is excited about for season 8 from Game of Thrones, because we are gonna be talking about that. DJ is also here. Definitely a great supporter. I do appreciate you being here, my friend. Thank you. Christian Oles, I don't think I've seen you before, so thank you so much. I appreciate you coming by. Sometimes people change their channel name and I don't recognize them. So Christian, if I've seen you before in a different name, please say it so I can remember who you are. But if not, you just came by to say hi, thank you for doing that. One of the things that I think a lot of creators do, especially on their live stream, is be supportive of each other. Definitely take a look and see what the other channels are. I told you earlier, I started going to a live stream through a channel called Pusa Studios, and the people that are there are so friendly. Not only the runners of the channel, but also the people that are in the stream. Speaking of great creators, we have Rayz De Alba, who's just joined us. He's trying to check things out and see how things are going. And we were gonna wait for the 7 o'clock, buddy. You could have given yourself a few minutes to take out all the nudity from the house.
No, I kicked everybody out of my house. I was like, "Hey, everybody gotta go. I gotta do this stream with AU.
AU is on."
Yeah, man. I was like, "Yo, I gotta link up with AU. Gotta make this happen because I haven't done this in a while, man. I was super hyped for the day. Thanks for having me."
Oh man, I am so grateful that you've been able to give me some of your time. I know that you're a super busy guy and work calls, family calls, everything. So thank you, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Oh man, yeah, thanks for having me, man.
So how pumped on a scale of 1 to 1,000,000 are you pumped about this Game of Thrones season 8?
Oh man, it's like I think it's a heavy 9, and the reason I don't go 10, because 10 would be like the go-to, right? Like, oh, I'm super excited 10. It's just because I know that it's gonna be the ending once it actually gets here. So that's kind of like, you know, in the back of my head that I have the ending of Game of Thrones coming up soon. So that's a little, you know, iffy, but I'm pretty excited about it. I ain't gonna lie. Like a 9.
Thank you for telling me about that, David. I really appreciate it. Sometimes with Hangouts, it does have a tricky who's it on when you're talking. So thank you for doing that, my friend. Is the one true David Adams not the best?
Yeah, man. Oh man, he's so dope, man. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, he's like the warden of chats. Like he holds chats down and he spreads the words. He's so awesome, man. And it's crazy because some people aren't creators, like they don't create videos, but they're so intricate and so important to the community, man. Because like one true David Adams, he holds everybody down. You know what I mean? So shout out to one true David Adams, man.
Amen. That is awesome. So you're saying a 9 out of 10, which is not too bad. John Del Vento says a 9.5 for me. How about everybody in the chat? Where do you stand? Are you excited to be at 11, 12, 1,000,000? Because for me, I'm like super excited. I'm not even, there is no chart. It's just all over the top.
I mean, when you really look at Game of Thrones and basically everything that we know, this is basically going to be the culmination of all. Like, and it's crazy because I would be even crazier. I would be even more excited if I saw it from the very beginning, because I picked up in season 4. So since I picked up in season 4, it's basically, you know, I haven't had to go off through so much off time, I think. And I'm happy that I picked up at season 4 because of that, because I couldn't even imagine waiting since season 1. Like all those day one fans out there, this must be insane for them having this show come to an end.
Sorry, I couldn't hear you. I do apologize. But yeah, coming to an end, that's really not the way it's going to happen though, right?
Yeah, I mean, we do have some other stuff in the horizon. We've heard of some other projects, but I mean, it's going to be epic. I know that for a fact. That's one thing that we've learned to expect from this. It's going to be the biggest thing ever.
Yeah, I think you're right, 100%. It's definitely going to be the biggest thing because we've already heard the director who is doing the episode 3 say that the battle scene has never been any bigger in all of not only television
Everything.
history but cinema history. So I think he said he compared it to Helm's Deep from the Two
Lord of the Rings.
Towers,
Yeah.
and even this is bigger.
I mean, I've never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm not sure if you know that about me.
No, that's okay.
No, yeah, I haven't
I
seen
still
it.
love you, brother.
No, but people always tell me, like, why haven't you seen it? Like, why haven't you seen it? And I've heard so many people bring similarities that they see in the trailer and in what actually happened in that movie. So I'm like, it's kind of made me want to see Lord of the Rings a little bit more, especially because, you know, that other show is coming up, that show that they have, that Lord of the Rings show that Amazon is working on. But it's definitely one of those things, man, that oh man, I'm just expecting epicness. It's going to be awesome sauce.
Awesome sauce is a great way to put it. No, for those of you who don't know, May 10th, there will be a movie out from Fox called Tolkien, and it'll be about his life story, John Tolkien. They called him Ronnie when he was a youngster. Obviously, they called him Professor Tolkien when he was, back to Oxford. But it'll be all about his story. So that would be a way I would recommend for you to start before you get into The Hobbit, because it's technically, I mean, really, honestly, it's a love story. Yeah, a lot of things happen to him, but it's more about his connection with his wife. And that is a great story in and of itself. And I think you'd enjoy it.
I did see it's the gentleman who plays Beast in X-Men, right? I forgot his first name. Holt, I think it is.
Timothy, I think it is.
Yeah, he plays Tolkien, I think it is. I have seen the trailers. It did look interesting. But like, how should I watch it? Should I watch The Hobbit first and then watch Lord of the Rings, or should I watch Lord of the Rings and Hobbit or Tolkien? Like, how exactly would you recommend me? In what order?
In all honesty, I would recommend going with the Tolkien movie first.
Yeah.
Then going to Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
And then going to The Hobbit. Nicholas Holt. Carrie Neves, thank you very much for dropping that bomb. I appreciate it. Mm-hmm. Correcting us all. But yeah, I definitely think that that's the way to go, because if you're going to read it, I would say do it in a little bit different order.
Yeah.
But for watching Lord of the Rings, starting with Fellowship, is a really a truer way of doing it. Obviously, he wrote The Hobbit first as a kid's story, but it was only supposed to be about one movie long. It wasn't supposed to be this trilogy that they've generated. And then, of course, the Lord of the Rings would have been after The Hobbit, because he wanted to connect a story called the Silmarillion that he started writing back in the 1920s after he was injured, and connecting that story, which is all about the very first creation, to The Hobbit. And that's why he did the Lord of the Rings the way he did it with the ring.
I mean, I know that it's a very detailed world and stories, and so like that's one of the things that's kind of intimidating, especially the length of the movies. That's one of the things I actually thought about reacting to it as I watched it, because it's kind of become such a thing that people know about me that I haven't watched them. So I am kind of excited to see it. I just don't know if I should like buy my own or probably just stream it or order it on demand or something.
What's that? The films?
Yeah, the films. That's.
Oh, I'll send you a copy.
No, I'm just like I've just been thinking like, how do I approach it? But like I'm kind of actually more excited to watch it, because the show, or the idea of this epic show similar to Game of Thrones, mm-hmm. it kind of makes me a little bit more happy that I have this substitute, because there are other shows that I have watched, like The Last Kingdom, mm-hmm. Vikings. I've picked up on. I know a lot of people in the community have told me to watch it, and I enjoyed it. So, anything that could fill this humongous Game of Thrones hole in my chest, I'll take it. I'll take anything.
It's definitely going to leave a hole, isn't it?
Yes, when it's a humongous one, definitely.
Absolutely.
I mean, Just, just look at this. I got this today. I would never buy this on anything else. Like I got a long claw. It's one of the foam ones though. It's not like one of the. So yeah, I was like, you know what? Let me bring this onto the stream because I got it today.
One of the things I did earlier today is I went to go visit a friend of mine who is responsible for making me so addicted to everything Tolkien. When I first saw the movie, I was confused because I had never read the material, but he has all of the swords, all of the staffs from the movies in his house. All of the axes that you see he's got them, including the ones from the orcs. So yeah, it's pretty epic.
I mean, it's funny. One of the things when I originally ordered this, I was like, everybody's gonna laugh because it's like, oh, you ordered a sword, like. And since I got it, everybody wants like, yo, can I hold it? Can I hold it? And everybody's just flinging it around and whatnot. So it really brings out like a kid in me. Like I feel so like excited about it. It's not even funny. I'm thinking about Halloween. Like if I'm gonna go like trick or treating or something with a sword. So I don't know, man. I'm just super excited. Got my long claw for the season already.
It's always fun when someone wants to touch your sword, right?
I know, right? That the truth.
So obviously we're gonna continue talking about Game of Thrones season 8. I want to know a little bit more about how you got connected to the community, because you've been around forever. It seems like you've had some great connections. You've made some great friends. And I'd like to hear a little bit more about that story.
All right. So let me see. I originally started watching Game of Thrones, like I said, back in season 4 when Joffrey died. That was the first episode I saw, Joffrey dying. So when I went back to see all of the episodes that I had missed, I saw all the episodes up to that point within like 3 days. I knocked them out. It's funny enough, I was on vacation. So I saw them. I was like, wow, this show's insane. This is crazy. I loved this show. It was really good. Then after that, I was like, you know what? All right. It was a good show to me. I enjoyed the show. Then jump forward to season 5. In season 5, we saw what ended up happening with our boy Jon Snow. And to me, that drove me crazy because I'm like, oh my God. Like the White Walkers, Hardhome, like all this crazy stuff. And basically, I was like, I need to talk with someone. My bad luck, or unlucky for me at the moment, was that nobody in my house watched Game of Thrones. So I was the only one. When I started seeing it, basically I was trying to talk to my brother and to everybody about it. I was like, yo, telling them like things that I think are going to happen. And they're like, I don't want to talk about this. Like, I'm not that into it like you. And I was like, what should I do? And my younger brother was like, you should start a YouTube channel and talk Game of Thrones, on YouTube and whatnot. And I'm like, well, that is true. That's interesting. So I kind of owe my brother the credit for that. And before I even started a YouTube channel, I didn't even know how big that was on like the YouTube community, like the Game of Thrones community. So I looked up some YouTube videos and I saw Smokescreen, Tony Teflon, Don Willie. Those 3 I originally saw. So I saw
a bad lineup, huh?
I know, right? It was definitely interesting. So when I saw Don Willie, I was like, yo, Don Willie has the hookup with the green screen, and he had like all these I was like, yo, look at that. That's so dope. I was like, that's so cool. So I was like, yo, I would love to do something with the green screen. Funny enough, I have a screen behind me, but I wanted to do something with that. I was like, yo, I need to do this. This is insane. And then I saw Tony Teflon, and then I'm like, yo, Tony Teflon, he has like a certain swagger about him. You know what I mean? He has like a certain delivery, and the way that he came up with these dope theories, I was like, yo, this is insane. And Smokescreen is different. Smokescreen, it was interesting because I was one of those like very green viewers. Everything that I saw was a theory. I believed it immediately. So I saw this theory that Mira and Jon Snow could be like twins, I think it was. And it was a very superficial theory. It was like based off of the looks of each one of the characters. And I remember I wrote Chris from Smokescreen, and I'm like, yo, what do you think about this? And Chris kind of dismissed it. And it's funny, in hindsight, I'm like, I would have dismissed it too. I probably would have been like, hey, it's not that big of a deal. But when I went and like, I was like, yo, I gotta talk Game of Thrones because there must be somebody who believes this must be true. And that actually ended up pushing me to make a YouTube channel because I wanted my opinion to be heard about it. And I had so much stuff. So I ended up doing that in like my third or second video blew up, and I got like 250,000 views on it or something. Or like I was like, damn. I was like, this is really dope.
I
thought
get
every
excited
video
with 10 views.
I thought every video would be like that, and it wasn't. But it was definitely interesting, man. It was dope, and that's basically how I got into the whole YouTube thing.
That's awesome. No, that's I think the way a lot of us did, because you know, everybody in my community and my family, etc., just has no interest in Game of Thrones whatsoever. Especially once they heard that there was nudity involved and all that stuff. I get a lot of flack for that, but definitely want to reach out to everybody that you can, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's one of those things that it's like, I was talking about this yesterday on my stream. I feel that it's incredible how this one thing that everybody loves and everybody enjoys, we all are in different parts of the world, different times, in different, different languages and everything. And then like you hear someone is watching you in all these different countries and stuff, and it's like, wow, this brings us all together. And to me, it's just something that I love. You know what I mean? It's something that I never thought I would have been able to do. And it's one of the my favorite things to do is streaming. Like I'm not gonna lie though, I give you a lot of credit because streaming 30 days straight, man, that is a task, my friend. That is oof. That is oh man. You gotta be built
so much
for that.
fun. It is so much fun because, like I said to someone that just joined the chat, Game of Theories with Marie, and I knew she would be here because you're here, buddy. But yeah, it's so much fun to talk with you guys and see the passion that you have for this show. And being a creator myself, I really enjoy talking with people, and that's kind of obvious being that I do it for as long as I do. But yeah, I mean, there's an endless amount of great creators.
No, yeah, it's crazy too because the way that I've always seen the online community, right? Like we have a lot of great creators, right? Great content creators, great YouTubers who do great Game of Thrones videos. But to be honest, I give most of the credit and a lot of like what the backbone of the community is to the viewers, to everybody in the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's because sometimes, yeah, you could have people like I can make some great videos, I can make great visuals sometimes, and I could come up with something and I'll hit it like on the head a few times. But sometimes the best ideas for videos or the best theories come from questions and people who want to find something out. And sometimes me as a creator, I might know a little bit more than some other people. You might know more than some other people, but the people asking the right questions to me, that is invaluable. Like that has so much value. Like you mentioned, Marie, before she was so awesome. She still is. She's great. She would write these huge paragraphs and she would question everything. And I would remember, I would always be like, wow, like I'm like, she likes Game of Thrones as much as I do. Like she really likes it because for you to write all of that, you really gotta like love Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. So I remember reading it and I was like, yo, like this is so dope. Like, you know what I mean? And just seeing like the questions and I'm like, oh, let me answer this. Let me answer that. So me as a creator, I love questions and I love people asking me like for topics and just that dialogue and back and forth because to me, the back and forth is the best thing out of everything. Shout out to Marie in the chat. Shout out to everyone.
Yeah, what I like about Marie is that she does ask you a lot of questions, but she's also super supportive. So you're not going to ever, do a video or have a live stream without her being there for you. So thank you for Marie. And that goes for just about everybody that's here right now. I mean, Cardinal Doomsday just came by. Ben from Sly the Tank Benjamin is here. Thanks for coming. And the Imagination Realm has been so supportive. John Del Vento just gave a $5 super chat. Thank you so much for doing that. Totally unnecessary, but I really appreciate it. Yes, Chrissy is here, and she is locking everybody down, isn't she? Mm-hmm. Another great supporter of the channel. So thank you for being here. But one of the things that I've noticed is that everybody has their favorites. Whether it's a favorite house, a favorite person in the house. Who's your favorite? See, Sansa.
My favorite Sansa. Definitely not Sansa. I would say it's my boy Jon Snow. You know, that's why probably why I got his sword. But Jon Snow is definitely up there, just due to the simple fact that yes, he is the typical hero now, but when he started off the story, he was like the underdog. He was the guy who brought himself up. And even though now we know that he is his big, he has this big destiny and he's like this big character that has all this potential power and pull in the story, before he wasn't that. And he built himself up in a way to what he is today. So I like Jon Snow a lot. But if I were to choose a non-main character, favorite, that I've been like, I love this dude from the very beginning to now, Bronn. Bronn is like the dark Raymond in the back, like evil Raymond in the back of his head, like whatever I'm thinking. Sometimes Bronn just says it, so I appreciate that. So Jon Snow and Bronn. I know the spectrum on those two is the space in between them is kind of funny, but Bronn definitely is one of my favorites.
Oh, that's so awesome. The Imagination Realm, $2 super chat. Thank you again for doing that. That is so generous. I really appreciate it. You have no idea. But yeah, I don't think I've ever heard someone put Bronn and Jon Snow together as far as their favorites. That's got to be a first. Bronn is obviously a super character in the show. In the books, not so much, but he is one of those guys that has excellent battle skills. And he doesn't follow the true knight of the realm, if you will, kind of a guy. Right. He can do things not only sneaky, but straight up front, just take people out left and right.
I mean, when you look at Bronn, how he starts off, just the character Bronn, he starts off as a sellsword, right? He basically is starting in the Vale. We see that he goes against what basically everybody there would want him to do. And he battles for Tyrion in the Tron and whatever and whatnot. And then like him and Tyrion go through all this crazy ish. They go through all this crazy stuff together, right? They go through the Battle of Blackwater. They go through all this stuff. And then Tyrion is up for trial. And he for Bronn to help Tyrion, he would have to fight the Mountain. And he's like, nope, I can't do that. I'm not willing to do that. Like, to me, that shows a certain level of depth in character development. Like, and I understand why he didn't do it. Like, you know what I mean? He makes all the sense in the world. So stuff like that, I enjoy from Bronn. Plus, he's funny as all hell. Like when he goes up to Podrick and he's like, you think they're doing it in there? Like, what you think they? And I'm like, oh man, you gotta love that. Like, you just gotta love that.
Yeah, that's okay. We know that there are sirens in New York City.
Definitely.
Ray is being so conscious of our live stream. I really appreciate it. Some people think it's a party in his house next door. So no, he lives in New York City, and as you know, sometimes things get loud, and that's okay. That's we get loud here too. One of the things that's really weird. You talk about contrast. I live in a residential neighborhood in a super suburb on a cul-de-sac, no less. So the only thing that gets loud is sometimes they're, way late at night, there might be a plane flying over, or my neighbor who has a diesel truck might take off. But other than that, we are super silent here. So I can't imagine having to go through that and make recordings. You must really struggle.
And that's the thing. It's like, it's crazy because before it used to really irk me. I've kind of gotten better with it, but before, like, I've had videos that I've been like, oh God, please just take the car. Like, I've heard like car alarms going off. I'm like, and I actually said that a couple of times when I would hear like car alarms or whatever. And actually one day it was a car alarm going off because they were towing the car. I was like, oh shit. So I was like, oh God, what did I put out there in the world? Don't put anything out in the world, people. And then I was like, because like there's so much noise down here and it's Lower Manhattan. So it's like, it's always, it could be like 2 a.m. and you see like so many cars and vehicles still going by. I'm not sure if you ever saw this, but I had a video once that there was like a huge accident while I was reacting to the previous season. Yeah, it was the previous season. I was reacting to one of the episodes. I think it was the The exact scene was the one when Tyrion goes to see Jaime, and this huge accident just happened, and I was like, oh my god! And it was just like, yeah, man, it gets crazy in New York, man. It could get wild.
Linda R., who lives in Southern California, was just saying that she has the police department shooting range near her. So I can't imagine what she has to go through with that.
Oh my god, that must be crazy. I actually tried streaming once on 4th of July. Bad idea.
Yeah, super bad. I think I remember that. Yeah.
Everybody was like raid at Rayz. Everybody. That was like season 6. I think it was bad. It was bad.
Fun. Yeah.
It was fun. But I was stressed out because I was kind of new to the whole thing. So I was like, oh my God. And at least everybody was having fun with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that season 8 is going to be one of those things that it's going to happen so fast. I don't know if you remember last year, but with the shortened season, with the fewer episodes, it really felt like it was over before it started.
Yeah, definitely.
This one, I think we're going to get the same thing, the same feeling of it is going to be over before it starts. What is your one thing that you really don't want to happen?
Like actual event, or you mean production-wise?
Yeah, event like somebody dying, a house falling, somebody being king, etc.
I personally think that the one event that I would not want, and to me it just seems it's just because I think that it would be kind of repetitive, is maybe like a Daenerys dying. Like I think that Daenerys dying would be kind of repetitive just because we see Lyanna die, we see her mother died, bringing her into the world. And I'm like, is this like a trend? Is this like a thing? I think that Daenerys dying, and Daenerys isn't even like my favorite character. Jon Snow, you would think. But I mean, Jon Snow dying would fit within his character, like himself sacrificing himself or something. So I could see that happening. But definitely, I think it's Daenerys dying. I don't know, because to me, it just sounds like, it sounds too cookie cutter for me. Like, if, you know what? I'm going to give you the exact thing I don't want to happen. Azor Ahai. I don't want Azor Ahai to happen.
Do you mean
like the
regards
process
to her being Nisa?
Yeah, that whole thing. Yeah. I do not want that to happen, because the more and more I've thought about it, it just sounds really corny. And I like the more and more I think about it, it's just like, it would, to me, it just sounds like you have to kill this person to make an actual blazing sword. Like, to me, that sounds a little bit iffy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure how I feel about it. I would probably prefer that she, like, I've always liked the thing that maybe her child could be the light bringer. You know what I mean? But the fact that she would have to die, like, that just puts me off. So that's why I think that whole topic, I'm a little bit sore on that. Like, I don't appreciate that. Like, I hope that doesn't happen like that.
Well, we do know that the last hero, if you will happen through the Targaryen family. So we'll get some of that. But I think for it to be a true Nisa situation is not gonna happen. I think you're 100% right there. If you could make something happen, like if you were gonna be one of those focus group guys, and your input was to do this, what would it be?
If I could put input into one thing, I would want an episode devoted to seeing the aftermath of what happens in the show. I think that not knowing is sometimes overrated. And I feel that sometimes in storytelling recently, in recent memory, sometimes people want to leave things to the imagination. But I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm up for that. I want to see what happens. Like, you know what I mean? I wanted to see that. And that's, of course, one of the things that I have issue with, like the whole shortening down the seasons, like you said, because it's going to go, last season had 7 and it had a few longer episodes and it still felt really short. So I think that having a really good conclusion, even to the side characters, in some fashion, we need to see where they're going, what they're planning. Because even the small characters, to me, like Gilly, I want to know what's up with Gilly. I want to see how Gilly ends the story. I'm not sure if everybody wants to see it, but I do. because I've invested a lot of time in this story. So it would be interesting to see like where and how everything ends. Like I want a good conclusion.
I love that about you because Gilly's one of those characters that we don't really know anything about other than she's Craster's daughter and Craster's wife and the mother of Monster.
Yeah.
So yeah. Speaking of which, do you think Monster is going to be any kind of a part in this, or do you just think that's one of those tropes that George uses to make us think constantly?
I mean, the whole thing that in the books, I think he actually might be something, because that whole switcheroo that they did, that to me is a little bit iffy. Like, why do that? Eventually, the White Walkers or the others or in the dead will get to the wall in the books in some way. Why leave that child there? Like, it has to be something, I think. So I think that in the books he might. In the show, I don't think as much, just because if it would have been, he would have been probably closer to the wall. We would have seen something more, Gilly probably staying behind or something. I don't really think that it's going to pan out to be anything. But in the books, I mean, they even call him that, Monster. So like, it's kind of hinting that there might be a little bit something weird there with that baby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So, but I don't think much will come of it in the show. We did see him in the crypts, so that was interesting. You know, we know that the crypts are going to be a big part this season, so it should be interesting to see Monster in the crypts and White Walkers possibly going down there eventually too. That should definitely be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think seeing that storyline with Sam, Gilly, and the baby finishing up so strong is going to be really important, as well as the other smaller characters. Like you said, I think we need to see that. If I'm not mistaken, the one thing I wanted to get away from the show for just a second in regards to your channel. What was your favorite video that you've made, and tell us a little bit about it.
My favorite video that I've made. It's funny. I'm gonna be petty. I'm gonna be a little bit petty here. I'm gonna bring the pettiness a little bit. I remember after season 6, I did a video that Arya was going to kill Littlefinger, and I had said that basically the way I just imagined it. I remember when I was thinking about this video too, I was like, yo, Arya is gonna bump into Melisandre. Melisandre, to get cool with Jon Snow, is gonna be like, yo, your brother's king in the north, I could take you. She's gonna get cool with Jon Snow because she brought back Arya. And then I was like, that's how it's gonna go down, right? But that never ended up happening. But what did happen, Arya did kill Littlefinger. And I remember that I got so much flack about that video because a bunch of people were like, yo, there's no way that she's gonna end up going to the north. She wants to kill Cersei. Cersei's on her list. And I was like, no, she's gonna end up north. She's gonna end up north. I remember saying that so much at the time. And she ended up going north, and she ended up being the one to kill Littlefinger. Technically, it didn't go down exactly how it went down, how I thought it would go down. But then the funniest thing is that someone wrote in the comments. Someone wrote down in the comments, and I think it was like, 40 or like 30 people disliked the video. And I forgot the person who it was, but shout out to them. Wrote like, so and so, he put the amount of people that disliked the video are feeling dumb. And then I was like, I enjoyed it. And you know why I enjoyed it? Because sometimes as creators and YouTubers, you get so much flack for going outside of the box or outside of like what everybody expects to happen. That as soon as you step outside of that, you know, you get smacked. Yeah, like, yo, it is like you get annihilated for it. Like, oh my God, you think that like Jaime's gonna die in the north or whatever, or you like anything. Like, you just think anything. Like, you don't think that Jaime's gonna kill Cersei. What's wrong with you? And it's like, or you don't think that Tyrion's gonna do it, or this theory doesn't like it. I'm telling you, they give you so much flex. So that one was definitely my favorite. And it did pretty nice, you know what I mean? But that was definitely one of my favorite ones.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, petty.
Tina, no, not petty at all. Tina Sarah with a $5 super chat with just a blue heart. So thank you for for that. If you have any questions, let us know. We're glad
Shout
to
out to
answer them.
Tina.
No kidding. Thank you so much. That is really generous of you. One of the things that I definitely liked about Don Willie is he is willing to do those types of videos where, you know, it's just taking chances and then throw it out there and see what happens. So, yeah.
No, definitely. I mean, that's definitely one of the things that I think that it's cool when you could think a little bit different. You know what I mean? And you could see things from different angles and different. Like I remember before I started my YouTube channel, I saw Tony Teflon had a video on Rhaegar's harp and it being in the Crypts of Winterfell.
Right.
I had not read anything from the books at this point. I'm like, damn, that sounds genius. Like that should be how it goes down. Like, you know what I mean? So to me, like I enjoy seeing that. I enjoy seeing someone who thinks differently and not as like I brought it up yesterday. I was like the whole waif thing. Arya probably being the waif. I think this was like prior to season 7. I was like, I don't think that that's what's happening, but I could appreciate that someone could come up with this theory. Like, especially when there's no Game of Thrones to go on, you need these bonker theories. You need like the dialogue and the back and forth with people.
Because you could prove that they're either right or wrong, or if they have some weight to them. One of my theories that videos that I did was in Westworld, talking about it being from a different world. Yeah. And I still love the video because it is so different than what everybody else did. And the reasons why I said it was still true. It's just obviously it didn't happen that way.
No, yeah, but, it takes you to different. It's like it unravels a little bit differently, but you did read what the show gives you. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I think that people don't pay attention to like what they're actually telling you, and like to me, like that whole thing, Arya and Melisandre, she says we'll meet again. That has to eventually pay off. Why wouldn't it pay off in this way? Like, you know what I mean? So I just love that's one of my favorite things about it.
100% for sure. Yeah, I think George tells us these things because he does enjoy, I think, us talking about them and creating this buzz for the show, for the books, etc. Probably more so than any author that I know of. Wouldn't you agree?
No, yeah, definitely. Like, I feel that the way that George teases, like, and it's crazy because he hasn't released a book. I mean, he has released books, but he hasn't released The Winds of Winter, and the show came out in 2011, I think it was, or no, the last book, A Dance with Dragons, came out 2011, right? The last song of A Song of Ice and Fire, and he still hasn't released a book since the show started. Yet, even before the seasons, he teases us with little things. Like, for example, before last season, when he came out and said that anybody revived by the Lord of Fire or Valor is the Fire White. I'm like, what? Like, that's just like
blows your mind, huh?
I know, right? That's like throwing a grenade into a refrigerator and just waiting for it to blow up, closing the door behind it, and just like wait for it. Like everybody went bonkers and crazy, man. And it was just like, I was like, who else could do that? Like George is like the only person that I've seen do that. Not even Stan Lee. Like I've never seen like a Stan Lee do something like that.
Yeah, that's true. I honestly, I can't remember an author that would be that foretelling.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like, I'm pretty excited to see what comes up, man.
One of the things that's really strange is that he's already released 8 chapters of Winds. And if you think about it, that's, 1/3 of the book. So if you don't think that Winds will be out right after this show is over, I don't know. The evidence is so compelling, especially that that he's written The World of Ice and Fire and Fire and Blood. Before I get into those books, though, I do want to ask you about the trailer. What did you find the most interesting about the trailer that came out?
At first, I was very interested about what we did see, right? We saw a bunch of really cool stuff. We saw some scenes that I'm pretty sure are altered, like changed up. But then I started thinking about, what didn't we see? We didn't see the Night King. We didn't see Melisandre. We didn't really see Tyrion as much. We didn't see much of the Hound. And all of these characters, I'm like, you know what? They like, for example, specifically the Hound, Melisandre, and the Night King. I have a lot of thoughts recently about the Night King. I have a lot of thoughts about the visions and the flames, the warging, the visions and the weirwood net, all of that, because I think that certain characters have been used, and like when I didn't see that, it immediately made me think about those characters and possibilities and stuff. But I think that I think it's that what we didn't see or what we saw less of makes me a little bit curious, especially when you compare it to previous trailers in the past. When you look at like Tyrion, yeah, he doesn't have a lot of action sequences or whatnot, but for the most part, when you look at like season 6, season 7, you would see like him giving looks, and then they have like a sound bite or something with Tyrion or something. But we didn't get any of that, and to me, that's very telling.
T Baby asked in the chat, what do you think the big reveal, the third super announcement or occurrence is going to be? She asked the tough questions.
Yeah, she did. What would I think the third one would be? I mean, after the whole hold the door thing, man, that wrecked me. That ruined me. So Shireen Baratheon, I wasn't that into, like, I hadn't grown, I guess, attached to the character of Shireen as much. Or I did, like, yeah, it's a little girl and they burned her, but like I was just like 2 seasons in. I didn't have like the 4 years building up to it. So when that happened, it was very shocking. I was like, damn, like that's savage. But I didn't feel like when Hodor, like when I remember like you will forever remember the day you saw Hodor hold the door. Like, you know what I mean? So for the third one to be something similar to that, and when you even look at what the actor that portrays the Night King said, he said that his favorite scene is yet to come. When he killed a dragon, what are you talking about? So I think it has to do something with the Night King. I think it has to do something with the Night King, something epic sauce, awesome sauce. It's gonna be really dope. But I think it has to do something with the Night King. I just don't know what, because him killing Jon Snow would not be, I think, dramatic, because you could definitely see that happening. Him killing a Daenerys, to me, would not be crazy. Him killing Bran would not be crazy. You know what would be crazy? Sansa dying. That, to me, would be something insane, because nobody sees it coming.
We know you want Sansa to die. It's okay.
I don't. I'm just saying, if she did, that would be very shocking. I know a lot of people would not see it coming. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. I love Sansa. I love Sophie Turner.
No, that's two different separate things, in my opinion. But yeah, I agree. I think Sophie Turner is going to be someone that we'll see a lot of in the future.
Yeah.
Especially in our genre, if you will. Yeah. She'll be at the New York Comic Cons every year, doing something, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think she came. Did she come last year? I think it was Comic Con.
I didn't go, but yeah, I'm sure that she'll be there with all the stuff that's coming up. So my theory on the third, to answer T Baby's question, on the third one, and I've probably said this in other live streams, but you know how the Night King raises his hands and then he raises the dead at Hardhome?
Yeah.
My theory was that he wants Jon Snow one-on-one, just like Jon Snow wanted Ramsay Bolton.
Yeah.
So what he'll do is he'll raise his hands and kill all of his people. All of the people will drop so that it'll be just one-on-one between him and Snow.
Oh, like he'll stop the reanimation.
Yep.
All right. That sounds like it would sound epic. It sounds like it's very climactic. Like, we're gonna get this one-on-one. I would love that. It sounds dope. I'm not gonna lie. What you call it? I think it has to do with the Night King.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I think that's 100%. Right?
Yeah, because you heard what the actor said. He said that his favorite scene is yet to come. When you kill a dragon, you pulled off Hardhome. I mean, there's a lot. There, like, what could you do that tops all of that? You know what I mean? You brought down the wall too. Like, what could be more better than that? What could you? And I think that would be like a showcasing of him, and he would definitely love something like that.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I think once the Night King is is finished with whatever decision Jon Snow has, he could reanimate them. It's not like they're alive, and then dead. They're just whites, right?
Like I was saying earlier, and I don't want to go down a rabbit hole because I have a lot of thoughts on this because we've been talking, like on my chats on my stream, I've talked about this a couple of times, and I even asked some of my Patreon supporters. I was like, "Do you think that the Night King could, in some way or fashion, tap into what the reanimated corpses knew or know, or is that like?" Do you think that in some way or fashion he could use that? Because if you recall, Osha said that her man had gone, was missing, whatever. Everybody
Right.
said that he had left her. Then he returned days later. I was like, did he die around there and then he came to her? Or was it like he died far away and then he returned home to kill the person he loved? Like, I'm like, there's certain things that we've seen in White. And like when you look at, for example, I went back and I looked at the scene at Castle Black. When they bring in the white, before Jon Snow burns it, he's hiding behind a door. Like, you know what I mean? Like he shows like some sort of control, and yet you could say that it's probably a White Walker controlling it from afar, whatever the hell it is. But to me, I think that there's something a little bit more there, and I think it'll be a reveal. It would be interesting if it were revealed too that the White Walker has a similar network to like Bran, how Bran uses the Weirwoods to like tap into a network, a collective memory or whatever. I know that George R.R. Martin has worked in the past with like hive memory things that have like hive memory in books and stuff. To me, it would be interesting if the Night King has some sort of ability like that to tap into memories and stuff like that, because how long has it been since he was south? You know what I mean? And now he's just gonna storm down south and attack, and you know what I mean? Like how does he get his intel? Is he warging people? Like I'm so curious as to find out how he gets his information, and that's a real possibility. You know what I mean?
I totally understand what you mean. And Gray Area actually did a video today where she was talking about Orell warging into the eagle, Orell dying, and the eagle still being aware that it hates Jon Snow and attacking Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Same with Bran when he's in the birds at Bloodraven's cave. He knows that there's something else there. He specifically says she is there, which means to me either we're talking about the Night Queen or we're talking about one of the children of the forest as a warg. But you never know. I personally believe it's the Night Queen, but using these other images, I don't know if you remember in the books, but when Arya is at the House of the Undying and the House of Black and White, and she's working with the Faceless Men, she is able to remember some of the feelings and reactions that the person's face that she takes is reacting to. So that's very true. I think it's possible.
I mean, and when you look at certain characters, for example, the Hound, like it's funny because when I saw this in season 7, I remember I was freaking out immediately because if you guys recall, the episode leaked. I'm not saying I saw it when it leaked, but people were trying to spoil me, so I got to do what I got to do. But I remember watching that episode, and as soon as by the end of the episode, I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that the Night King set them up. Like, and I still sometimes find myself talking with people, and some people, to me, they don't think that it was set up, like he set them up. I'm like, to me, it's very out there. Like, to me, in my opinion, it looks like it was a setup, especially when you look at how did the Hound get this vision? Like, you know what I mean? The Hound got this vision of this mountain. When he gets to the mountain, he's like, oh, we're here. Like, it's like right over the mountain or whatever. So basically the R'hllor is telling him to go to this place where the Night King is going to get a dragon. If R'hllor knows about the future and what's to come, why would he help the Night King? You know what I mean? So I don't know, man. I tend to question a lot of stuff, especially to me, the only thing that's bad about this is that since the writing is sometimes questionable, you kind of can't rely on 100% what you see in the story. But I don't know. I think there's something there with the Great Other, the Hound, the Night King, the Visions, the Flames, all of that. There's something there, and there's some sort of manipulation, because also in the books, when Melisandre sees Bran and Bloodraven, she sees them and she says that they're servants of the Great Other. Right. So to me, I'm like, if you see someone in the Flames and they're showing you, like, you know what I mean? I'm like, there's something else there, man. And I'm always trying to piece it together to make, like, to find out what they want or what it is. It'll be at the end of it all, but we'll get to it. We'll get it by the end of the story. I'm pretty sure of it.
I just want to say thank you, Marie. Game of Theories with Marie, $10 super chat. I appreciate that. So kind of you. That's very generous. And I'm glad that you think I'm doing a good job, or a great job, as you say. But thank you so much. That was really appreciated. Yeah, absolutely. In regards to, I hate to stop, and like move on from Marie's donation, because that was super, super generous. But Plexi, excuse me, it wasn't Plexi. No, it was Plexi. I had a question in regards to the Night King traveling through memory like Bran did in the tree when he was at Bloodraven's cave. And the Night King tagged Bran, obviously, with the frost scale. Do you think that he has the ability to do that all the time?
I mean, to me, it was interesting, right? Because it wasn't like we just saw the Night King at like you know what I mean? It wasn't like some plane of existence and it's just snowy and you don't see, we see all the whites there. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, I'm like, I think that there's a special link between them. I don't think that he could just do that to anybody. I think that, especially since we know that, Bran is a seer. I saw that T-Baby said that, the Night King, he's a green seer and whatnot. I don't think he could just do that to anybody. I don't think that's just one of his abilities, but I do think that it has something to do with memory and like maybe time travel in some weird way. Like, it's funny how the whole Hodor thing happened basically almost 3 years ago, like 2.5 years ago, and we still haven't gotten much ground on that. You know what I mean? Like, I still feel like I still have the same questions.
Yeah, I could see why though, because we don't really understand what happened in that tree vision, if you will. Is that something that the children of the forest are feeding Bran and making him react to? Are they, sacrificing Bran to the Night King by having him stuck in that tree, just like Bloodraven was? Do they want Bran really to succeed, or is this just a trap for him? So, yeah, that is so crazy.
I think Bran is too far gone, man. I think that Bran is on more over there than he is over here. If you understand my drift, like I think that, like, especially after the whole Hodor thing, I personally have a kind of dislike for Bran. But then when you see at how he even says that he remembers what it was like to be Bran Stark, to me that's telling me, well, Brandon isn't here anymore. And I think that when people tell you who they are, believe them. Like, I think that Bran is no longer there, and just how unsensitive. Like, I've been going back and looking at a lot of the episodes again, and going back into Game of Thrones, and I'm going to rewatch it. And when he says that to Sansa, he's like, "Oh, it was beautiful," and he says like he's this very dark thing that happened to his sister, and he just tells her that, and it seems like it's just like so insensitive, and like, to me, that's kind of iffy. Like, that's not a good vibe. Like, he doesn't have good energy on him. So I think that there's something there. I think that there's less Bran that, than Bloodraven or Three-Eyed Raven or whatever. So let's see. I know a lot of people don't agree with me on that, but I think that he's more evil than he is good at this point. Ray,
could you say today is the day?
Hey guys, today's the day. Definitely. I was gonna put on a today's the day shirt, but then I was like, I couldn't find the red one. I wanted to wear red.
That is awesome. I love it. Plexi has another great question. And how would you compare Bran versus the Night King to Bilbo versus the Ring Race? I think the difference is that, and it's a good and fair comparison. I think that the similarities are obviously when Bilbo has the ring on, or Frodo has a ring on, and the wraiths see him. It is a real world. They are spirit beings, not physical beings, and that's why they have to wear the costume or the armor so you can see them. Whereas, and by the way, when that happens, it's in control of Sauron, not what is reality. Nobody really sees that. So, in regards to the way that the Night King happens, when he's in that vision, it's very similar to when Frodo puts on the ring and sees the ring wraiths, and they call to him, much like that frost scale. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is how much influence George is under from Tolkien's great story. But there's many examples of that, and I'll go into that in a different video. But it is I wouldn't say it's a perfect example, but it's one of those things that you're not going to get from another author in comparison to like Norse mythology or that sort of thing. But since Ray is not a Ring fan, we're boring him to death. He's falling asleep over here.
No, I was actually kind of curious, because I was like, at first I was like, that must be Lord of the Rings. Since I haven't seen it.
Yeah. So they have basically similar visions. When the ring is worn, you're in a different realm, because it's the realm of Sauron, the guy that created the ring.
Okay.
And that's his influence on the ring bearer.
Yeah, because I was just assuming like the ring was evil, and that's what I always just thought what it was. I thought that the ring was like an evil ring.
The ring is evil because the person that made the ring is Sauron. Yeah. And he put his life force into the ring. So when you have it on, you're able to see in his world. And
Sauron is in the eye.
He is the eye, yes.
All right, cool.
The eye isn't a real part of the story. They just use that to symbolize he's not fully physical yet.
Yeah.
Because he was physical, and when they killed him before by cutting off his fingers, that's when he became back into a spirit world.
All right, cool. Like I've heard little things, but like I've never actually seen it through.
Yeah.
I'm planning on it though.
We're gonna get through it. We got
to do a live chat when I actually do it, because you actually explain it. You actually look like like I actually understand what you said. Like I've heard people try to explain it to me in the past, and I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm not 100% sure what they're talking about.
I have way too much knowledge on Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings, unfortunately. I'm like one of those old men Star Trek guys that know what the proton force is of different weapons. I don't know anything about that, but I definitely know about Tolkien. So yeah,
definitely.
So in regards to the show, obviously we're going to get plenty of great scenes. Is there a particular family that you want to see all live, like the Lannisters, for example? We've got the Starks. We've got so many people.
Yeah.
Any particular family?
I mean, of course, if we're talking families, I think that the Starks are definitely one of the ones that I'm like, you know what? I hope that they hold it down, just because they've been through so much. So definitely the Starks, but I feel that I should probably choose a smaller family, the Tarleys. Let's say the newly founded Tarleys with little Sam, Samwell, and Gilly. I want to see them do good. I want to see them prosper. Samwell Tarley he's definitely up there in some of my favorite characters, so I want to see him win.
Even though Sam has done some pretty shady stuff, he's not a shady person, is he?
No, yeah, it's funny. I'm not sure if you've seen these interviews or these things that they did for season 8, that they're like talking about everything that each character has gone through. And it's interesting seeing Sam, is it Bradley? Sam Bradley? No, wait, not Sam Bradley. Sam Bradley.
John Bradley.
John Bradley. I kept saying, for some reason, Sam and Bradley can separate them. But John Bradley, the way that he plays Samwell Tarly isn't necessarily how I 100% see it, but the way that he explains it is more similar to the books. I'm not sure if that made sense. So like and yeah, Samwell Tarly in essence does the same thing. He's trying to get himself out of the Night's Watch to come down south, but like Samwell Tarly, man, he's one of those dudes that he works with what he has, and he knew that Jon had his back, and he knew that it was getting to a point that he couldn't stay up there anymore, and he wasn't going to be able to do. It wasn't safe for him and his girl anymore. He was like, you know what, I got to get out here. He got Jon to help him with that. Jon did him a solid, and he's helped Jon, and he doesn't help in the same way that some other characters might, like physically, but he has brought stuff to the table. Even Gilly. I mean, Gilly found out one of the biggest things in Westeros, like the biggest tidbit of information in the upcoming season. She probably found out. So it's like, you know what I mean? I appreciate Sam. You know what I mean? He's a survivor, even though it's not the prettiest surviving. It's not the most like heroic. He survives, and I appreciate that. You know what I mean? It's similar to Tyrion. Like Tyrion is a horrible human being sometimes. Like he is such a bad person. Like he does like some really iffy-ish. And
no doubt.
And you know what I mean? Like I still like him. You know what I mean? But yeah, Sam definitely. Samwell Tarly for king.
KJ says, way cool long claw there, Ray.
Thank you. I just got it today. You know what I mean? I'm all happy. I'm all in love with long claw. It's made out of foam though, so you know it's not like the real thing. Funny enough, like this has the point that it like I can't stab anybody with it.
I've had that problem before. Yeah, I totally understand.
So you know, it is a thing apparently. But
East Coast Lifestyle is a new sub. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate it very much.
Hey,
thanks for coming in. East Coast
Lifestyle.
Oh, so many great people here. I don't know about you, but whenever I see some of these people that are in the chat, it just gives me goosebumps. Great having your support. Great having your contribution. Always great questions. Keeping everybody behaving. Just awesome. So thank you everybody for being here. I know Ray feeds off of it too, gets excited, ready to rock and roll. So thank you very much for doing that. One of the things that I'm excited for is to see what the hell is in the crypts. I mean, everybody is thinking, you know, like you were saying before, Tony Teflon's got the silver harp theory. Yeah. I personally think the Night Queen is there. Personally, if they don't show us this revelation, I'll be disappointed. Some people even think, just like Lord of the Rings, that we're going to get the Kings of Winter coming back alive and helping them defeat the Night's King. Where do you stand on what's in the crypts?
Well, the Night's Queen one, I enjoy that because when you look at Winterfell, you hear about the hot springs within Winterfell. It's always warm, like the castle and the hot spring. And it's funny, I forgot where I think I saw a meme about it. It was like the hot spring is a hot spring, but it's frozen in front of the weirwood, and it's supposed to be hot. Like, where is this? Like, where was it? Mm-hmm. I saw a meme about that, and that had me rolling. But when you look at the Crypts of Winterfell, it's said to be cold. When like it should be hot or warm because, like, you know, you have like hot springs around. So there is, to me, something definitely there weird or interesting that why is it so chilly down there? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's colder down there. I think it would be interesting if it were something like the Night's Queen or maybe the Night King's former wife or something, just a corpse or a tomb or something. So, but I don't know. It's interesting because, like, for example, I like Tony's theory on the harp. I think that it would be kind of morbid to have to open your mother's tomb. Like, what would lead you to open the tomb? You know what I mean? Like, it has to be something weird to happen to actually open the tomb and get proof. So I think that could maybe happen more in the books because there could be a reason built up to open a crypt. But I could definitely see something like a White Walker, Night Queen, or something. Like, I definitely think that that's something more we could probably see down there. Like, maybe the again. Did you read the article about the Entertainment Weekly? He did say that he wants revenge. He
Absolutely.
did have a life before everything. So he did have a life. Maybe he had a wife, and if he was a Stark indeed, maybe his wife is buried down there or something. So we just don't know what he really wants at the end of the day.
Yeah, I did read that article. Peter Griffin had a very funny comment. He said, if you find the harp, what is he going to do? Throw it at the Night King? So I love that, Peter. Thank you for adding that comment. But yeah, that is been one of my crux as far as this whole show, because really, other than a few minor scenes in the beginning, we got to the crypts right away. And that was George's writing. So we know that that's super important.
And when you look at it, I think, I'm not sure 100% right now, but I think that for the most part, we've seen the crypts in every season in some way or fashion, like a vision or something. I think so. I'm not 100% sure.
Say that again, Ray.
I think that we have seen the crypts in every season, the crypts of Winterfell. So, yeah. Yeah, we've seen at least in a vision or something every season. So there's definitely something important down there. And one thing that I've always found interesting too, that Jon was scared to go down there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, to me, that's very interesting. I know that most of us associate it because he was a Targaryen. We just think that he doesn't belong there because he's a Targaryen. We just assume, oh, he's a Targaryen. He thinks it's because he's a bastard, but it does give credit to what you're saying. There is a possibility of something else being down there. That why does he fear it so much? And I don't know, man. I would be excited to see something like that. Maybe that might be the third thing.
Chrissy of Old Stones says a 12-pack of Bud Light is what's in the crypts. The Night King is thirsty.
thirsty.
I don't know if she was kidding about the thirsty part, but yeah. Tolka's 420, dilly for sure.
Dilly. Oh my God, how did you feel about that commercial? You know, it's a little off topic, but
well, no, it's funny because I've always said that the mountain is going to be the one that blows Euron's horn to attract the dragons and control them. And I think I've said this on the live streams for 10 days in a row, but I really think the mountain is going to blow the horn because he's already dead, so it doesn't affect him like it does the living. Yeah, and the dragon is going to come and burn him alive. He's going to come like he's behaving, but once he sees the mountain, he's gonna die from fire. And I think that's really what Sandor was saying when they were at the dragon pit last year. You know, he's coming for you. Yeah, you know, you've always known, and that's one of the reasons why the mountain has these migraines.
I mean, it would be interesting and poetic to see Sandor, conquer his fear of fire and kill his brother with fire. It does come around full circle.
Yeah, George writes that way, so I definitely can see why you would say that without a doubt. Yeah. So Plexi has another great question. Do you think any of the humans will end up undead, a la Benjen's already undead, Jon's already undead, Beric Dondarrion is already undead. What other examples does she have here? And Catelyn and Mountain, that kind of thing. Do you think any more will be like them? Like Samwise or Samwell rather, or maybe Gilly, or
I think we will see. I think we'll see Ghost as a white. Could you imagine how Ghost is going to look with blue eyes? Those beautiful red eyes turn blue. It's funny. I'm actually editing a video that I did about possibly Ghost and how I think if that is Ghost in the trailer, how I think he's going to die. In that video, I say that, only Benjen could save him if he comes in his horse again and saves him a la Jon Snow, because that's the only thing that would save him if Ghost goes into the battlefield. But I think Ghost, Varys, I think we'll definitely see Hodor. I think that we have to see Hodor. Like, I think that Hodor definitely has to be one, a really decayed Hodor. After yesterday's stream, I think Edmure. I think maybe Podrick, because Podrick is not much of a fighter. Maybe Grey Worm. Like, those characters, I'm pretty like. But then for the most part, because I don't really see the main characters dying that quickly. Yeah, those.
That makes sense. Personally, I think there's going to be a whole lot of people turning to be whites, if that makes any sense. I don't know how to say this, but it's all asterisks, and I do apologize for not knowing how to say that, but that's a great handle. How much of the promos are going to be geared towards new viewers versus us old folks that have been around forever?
Of the promotion?
Yeah, because I think all of the promotional material is geared towards anybody that's any level of a fan.
It's interesting because, for example, I was talking about this with my brother, and I was talking about this with my cousin earlier today too as well. And we were talking about how the battle at Winterfell is going to be the same week as Avengers Endgame. And I was like, you know, will Game of Thrones in some way affect the box office for that movie? And I'm like, I think it will. But my cousin and my brother are very, you know, like, my brother really doesn't watch Game of Thrones like that. He says he'll watch it, and my cousin will too, but they say that they wouldn't stop going for that. So I'm like, how much, honestly, at this point could you gear to non-fans? You know what I mean? I think that most of the promotional material will be very vague. Like last season, they only released what we needed to see. Even the synopsises for the episode, they barely released anything up to like 3 days beforehand. So I don't think that we're gonna get anything really too crazy. I think it'll be like a universal promotional thing. You know what I mean? I think it'll be like one size fits all.
Gotcha. Yeah, I definitely agree. We have so many people that have been involved in this since 1997 when the first book came out.
Yeah.
So I think any kind of material, whether it's a promo or a trailer or just the posters that they put in, or even George's Not a Blog, is going to be geared towards anybody that comes around. Even people like Jeff and JoJo that were here earlier, those show watchers are going to be more excited about it than anyone, just because it's new television. And I think that's one of the things that people are really hungry for. We didn't get a really good True Detectives ending. Westworld was kind of blasé, so I think they really need to hit it out of the park.
I mean, Westworld is one of those things that this season. It's funny because I haven't talked, I think, Westworld with you. What this season of Westworld, I had so many questions towards the end. I was like, what? Like that scene with the man in black, like that last scene, I'm like, what the hell? Like, I remember questioning myself so much, like, what are they gonna do next season? Like, what? Like, so I do think that they really need Game of Thrones to hit it out of the park and set up the prequel in some way that leave people wanting more.
Next Thursday on the 21st, Waxel Foley from DVR Podcast, Westworld Podcast, Westerosi Podcast, every other podcast that's out there. He's on, and he's going to be on, and he probably has the best explanation for Westworld Season 2 ending that I'm comfortable with. Everybody else, I feel like, is still a little sketchy about what really happened, as opposed to what the directors were trying to say, because I think they were playing loose-footed with the storyline there. So you're not alone, Ray. Yeah, for sure. What actor do you think best portrays their character?
That is, I think Alfie Allen. Alfie Allen, I think
Nice.
is my go-to. I think, like, and maybe Oberyn, and Oberyn just because of the bravado, like what you imagine him to be. I think they bring certain things to the table. Like when Alfie Allen is Reek, he's like, oh, master. He's like all twitchy and freaking out. I'm like, no, but like he could just like, if he could just do that, that to me is genius, man. He is really good. He's one of those unsung heroes of that show.
I agree. I think that's one of the problems with the show as far as Alfie Allen goes, is that there are so many Alfie Allen actors that are doing such a great job with their character, that it's really hard to single him out. But if you think about it, he's playing two real characters, totally different from each other, and yet he is just on point 100%.
I mean, one of the, like I always said, to me, one of the saddest scenes, and I remember, like I always think about this scene is when he's telling Ramsay Bolton that he's like his father died in King's Landing, and just the way that they did that scene, I always feel like, damn, man, like good old Ned, man, and you just feel for him, like he made a mistake, and now he's paying for it, and then it even gets worse from there on out for him. But it's definitely one of those things that I think Alfie Allen is definitely up there.
One of my friends, Al Red Sox fan, is he really thinks the Starks are stupid. He doesn't say that they're bad. He just says, they make a lot of mistakes. What do you think the biggest mistake any of the Starks have made, excluding Kat, because I can't even start with her?
Well, if I should, I should say one, he dislikes the Starks because the Starks are the Yankees. I just had to throw that in there. He's a Red Sox fan. And we'll be back next season. But going back to Game of Thrones, the biggest mistakes I think that they did is playing by the rules when nobody else is. It's just like they were too late to come to. You know what I mean? To actually, because when you look at, for example, Catelyn, Catelyn did a lot, and she shouldn't have done the whole Jaime thing. But Jaime was actually, when you look at it in the whole story, he's probably the only one that would keep his end of the bargain, and she actually kind of, trusted that a little bit. But like when you look at everything, man, Ned, like I can't even think of going through some of the stuff that Ned did, and being like my best friend is king, like my best friend being king, and me going through, like he could have used that so much more than he actually did when he was in power. And I feel that for the most part, all these characters in the Starks, they're kind of naive a little bit, you know what I mean? And it's interesting also when you look back at the history of the Starks, how crazy and bloodthirsty and insane they were. To me, that was like the only thing that I think, playing by the rules when no one else is.
That is so true. I don't think they really know how to do it differently because they've been in the North so long. And even when Ned was younger, he the only kind of cheating words that we hear him get were from his father, where he's like, if you have to fight, make sure you win.
Yeah.
And that's not really cheating. It's just saying, just beat the guy, whatever you got to do.
It's sad, man. It's sad because it's like you love them, but man, they just dumb, man. They just got really relaxed, very chilled. They caught them slipping. And it's interesting because when you look at the books, it's even a little bit more sadder to me because, like, for example, Grey Wind doesn't like certain phrase, and Grey Wind is like this thing that basically helps Rob, and he starts like distancing himself from Grey Wind. He's scared of Roose Bolton, yet he still has him like in positions where he could really screw him over and stuff. I think that like it's something like people have to, if you think that something is wrong, you should go with that. You know what I mean? Like follow your instincts. And I think that the Starks really didn't follow theirs as much. You know what I mean? I think that's one of their big flaws.
Just want to say thank you for coming by, Gemma. Secrets of the Citadel is here. Say hi to everybody.
Sup, Gemma? Sup, everyone?
She will be on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern. and I am so excited. I think it's like 4 in the morning in the UK right now. So thank you for being here. Catherine Hardig is also here. Jenny of Old Stone, Proto Peach, Daryl Galt, Vanessa Amicy. Thank you so much. Tulkus 420 again. Really appreciate it. East Coast Lifestyle, like I said, is also here. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. New subscriber. All Asterix is here. Misty 306, Peter Griffin, Britt the Change, and so many more. Thank you for being here. Thank you for hitting that thumbs up button. I do appreciate that very much. It certainly helps. And Gemma says, "Oh, it's only midnight here," and she's hanging out with AU and Rayz De Alba because today is the day.
Yeah,
today. I don't know about you, but I get so excited when I hear you say that. So
it's funny too because it was such a weird thing. I always like, how should I open my videos before? And then like Arya was like, that sounds cool. And my brother hated it. My brother was like, oh, that sounds horrible. You should change it. Like my brother does not like me saying it, but everybody else does. So screw him.
Do you? I think you should be asking your brother some more questions and then do the opposite of what he says.
I'll definitely do that. I'll definitely. I think that's my life model to deal with him. Everything he says, do whatever he doesn't.
I agree. Yeah, that's funny. One of the things that they're asking in the chat is, do you think Jon Snow is going to make the same mistakes as Ned did in regards to playing by the rules?
Luckily for Jon Snow, he had
question, by the way.
He had luckily for Jon Snow, he has Daenerys and he has Sansa. And one thing that is always great is to have a strong woman next to you or a strong partner in general, because with that way you don't want to do the dirty things. You don't want to. They could be like, "Yo, do what you like, do it." Like, you know what I mean? They give you that little extra nudge. So even let's say, for example, if Jon Snow doesn't want to do something, we did see that Daenerys did give him a little talk back. She was like, we want to help people, but we have to help them from a position of strength, right? So I think that him having these strong people around him, specifically, I think Daenerys and Sansa, hell, even Arya, who's like a freaking walking lie detector, I think that does him great. Like, you know what I mean? That'll help him a lot because Jon is a little bit naive, man. He's not all up there, I think.
Great answer. As always, yeah, I think you're right. I think one of the things that Jon needs is definitely that female companion where not only is it someone that you like, but someone who's got some brains to them and some life experiences too. Dany's definitely been around different cultures, different deceit practices that have been practiced. So I definitely think that Jon will benefit from that 100% for sure. One of the things that is coming up that I think we've all been talking about is George's bittersweet moment. Do you see a bittersweet moment, or do you think it's going to be, because it's a show and D&D are doing it, more bitter than sweet?
Jesus, if it's going to end, I want it to be sweeter than bitter, because God, like I don't think I could take it. That is something that has haunted the YouTube Game of Thrones community for years, since we've all heard that bittersweet ending thing. Like, him saying that has set us up, because like I feel that sometimes I think that I have it predicted, but I'm like, is this bittersweet? So I don't know exactly if George R.R. Martin's vision of how he wanted it to end 100% will be what we get, because I'm a fan of George R.R. Martin. Hell, he gave us Game of Thrones, but I have iffy thoughts about George R.R. Martin. I think that George R.R. Martin is further back in the Winds of Winter than most people actually think he is. And I think that he's waiting to see what happens with the show so he could go the right route. I honestly believe that. Like, I don't know if you believe that or who else believes that, but like, I think that he is hedging his bets. He wants to see what works from what they did on the show, and he's going to try to better it or, make it a little bit different, I think, in some ways. So I don't know. I don't know how much the bittersweet that George wants it to be will be in the show. I don't think it's going to be much, if anything. You know what I mean? I think that he doesn't really know how he wants things to end. I think he knows the ending, but I don't think that he knows how he'll get there yet.
All asterisk says that's a definite for them. Agreed. I think he's waiting too. Personally, I think he's done with Winds. He's just finishing up Dream, and that part of it is what you're talking about, the ending of the show and what works versus Dream of Spring. I think he's been finished with Winds and waiting for the show to end before he releases it, and then in January he'll release Dream of Spring.
That would be well received. I mean,
excuse me.
That would be well received when you really look at it. Like, to me, it is insane the thought that probably he hasn't released one of the books from the main story since the show started. To me, that is bonkers, if that indeed is the case. And I hope that it is the case. I just think that once the show blew up, it got so out of hand, probably. This is just me off the top of my head. I ain't read anything, but I think that he built such an elaborate world and he put so much pressure upon himself to actually build this. Like, it is insane the detail that he has in these books. And I think that it kind of got a little bit out of hand because, like, there's certain storylines that you're like, okay, where's this going to lead? Is this really necessary? And instead of finishing storylines, he just adds more characters more
Squishers and Nimble Dick Crab and that sort of thing.
He's adding different characters and stuff. So like for example, the whole Young Griff thing, where's that going to end? Like, you know what I mean? Like, all of that, like, I just don't think. I'm like, why is he adding more to it? Like, it could have been a very, very small, storyline. Yeah, this one little, not adding and all these other characters. I don't know, man. I think it got out of hand for him.
Yeah, I think it did, but I think that's what he wanted. Personally, I think he wanted to have different storylines so that we'll get entranced with their clues, and that's what he does with the food too. Or conversations, you'll see where he'll be writing, and that phrase that he uses during that meal or during that story that's being told, there will be a story within that, and that's where we get the real truth, the real juice, if you will. Shout out to Gray Area.
Yeah, I mean, like I think that you could do that and make it and agree. And again, this man has all of this in his head, and look at what we've gotten from like what he's given so far. But I'm just curious to see like how and what, and it's like I've read some of the Forsaken chapter, and I'm like, how is he gonna wrap all of this up? It just, I don't know. Every time that I hear about one of these chapters from the Winds, I'm like, how is this gonna be? Like, I don't see any end. You know what I mean? And I hope that it is the case, like you said, that he has all of this already. You know what I mean? Like, it's already set up that he's gonna release them all, especially since he's one of those writers that he doesn't like other people working on his stuff. He sounds like he wants to finish his story, and he knows how he wants to finish it. I hope that is the case. One thing I wouldn't want to do is put like unnecessarily pressure on George R. R. Martin as someone in the community. Like, you know what I mean? You don't want to be like that dude that like is putting like this old man, like this older gentleman through all this stress. Like, he gave us something so awesome. I wouldn't want to put any hardships on him. And I know that he dislikes it when people bring it up, his age and his and all that. I understand it, but I think that there's something to it. Like, he has to get it going at some point.
No, I agree 100%. We've definitely got to be moving forward with the story, and I think this is going to be a great way to start the prequels with the Long Night or whatever they decide to go forward with. I know he is excited about working on them, and I think that's one of the things that most people have a problem with. And I think this was developed in one of his in actually the Mad King. He would always like to start projects and not finish them, and I think that's part of George's personality. It might be just a writer situation, but speaking of writing, we've got what 1,200 pages in Fire and Blood, another 700 pages in Winds of Winter. He didn't write all of that, obviously. Elio Garcia and Linda Antonsen helped him with that, but we're talking about enough for 4 books, 4 normal size books. He had 500 pages written of Winds before he even started. Like I said before, released eight chapters of that since Dragons came out. So in regards to Fire and Blood, did you get any information out of that you put towards the ending of this story?
To be honest, I haven't read Fire and Blood. I've
Okay.
just seen like some of the stuff that I've seen from other people, you know, out there and stuff. Some of the interesting stuff that I think that was dope. Like I said, since I haven't read it, you know, I really can't talk much about it. But some of the stuff about maybe the possible origin of Daenerys's eggs, that was something that I found was interesting. If that was the case, like, you know what I mean. But I haven't really been able to get to that. You know, if I'm to be
Yeah. No, that's totally cool because it is a complicated story, or it's a complicated part of the story. And again, he puts so much detail into these stories as far as 5th and 6th children and what they had for dinner and what kind of headache they had. And, you know, and then he adds so much of the eggs and the fireworms and so on. It's so interesting. Plexi asked if we were mad about him writing it. Personally, I want him to write what he feels comfortable about writing because that's when he's most creative.
Of course.
And I don't know if you feel the same way.
No, I mean, like it's I think that you, for one, cannot force someone who has all that creative, like Game of Thrones is not the only thing that he's written. Like he's written a lot of different stuff. So I would imagine that, you know, when writing, there's certain things that you don't want to repeat. There's certain things you might come up with a new idea. Like writer's block is a real thing. And I could definitely, you know, sympathize with him if he does go through it and all this added pressure and all this outer influences and stuff. I think that anytime that he could write and develop the world is dope, because we might not get something about Aegon's conquest now, or we might not get something about the Dance of the Dragons now or anything. But the more he builds out and fleshes out this world and this history and all this lore, I think that that's a plus for us. Like we're winning. I don't think that there's any way we lose when he provides more story, more history, more you know, more flesh in this world when he fleshes it out.
Another great creator, Headey from Costume Co. Is here in the chats. Thank you so much, Headey. I really appreciate it. She is the costume designer that comments and does descriptive videos about all of TV shows, but specifically she does a lot of Game of Thrones stuff. I saw her on D Nimmons' channel the other day and said hello in the chat. She is a moderator there and got D to review my channel while I was on, and he couldn't stop laughing. He's like, this guy's ridiculous. How's he supposed to make a YouTube channel out of Game of Thrones content? No, seriously, he was awesome. He did a great review, very honest, and thank you, Headey. I really do appreciate it. Yeah, he even said he was going to stop by and check out the channel and watch one of my live streams this month. So,
what you call it? It's funny. When I ordered this, I was like, I need a cloak, and I remember that they said something about IKEA rugs, and then I immediately went to look for IKEA rugs to dye black, or like any IKEA rugs, and then I was like, nah, I probably might not go that far with it, but I want to geek out when I watch season 8 this season. I want to wear it all.
I think if you go to Heidi's channel, she'll give you a few suggestions.
I'll definitely check that out.
Right, Heidey? You'll give Ray a suggestion on the Jon Snow lookalike IKEA rug cloak.
Yeah. I mean, that's crazy. When I heard that, did you ever hear that they were like IKEA rugs that they used in the beginning?
Well, you know, when you're a prosthetic designer or you're making things, you already have certain you've already shopped for everything. You have things in mind that you want to use for different parts of your costume or different parts of the props, like your sword. They probably have 100 of those types of swords that can be reused or thrown away because there's so much going on in the production. And I think the IKEA rug is just an inexpensive way. Just like, I don't know if you heard the story about the George Bush mask.
No. Yeah. I did hear that. Yeah. I remember.
So they obviously didn't have a box of masks that they made. They bought some from Party City or whatever prop store they have in a Hollywood type of a setting, and used it. So I think that's what you've got to do when you're making show.
Right?
Say that again.
I think they apologized and had to remove it or something.
Oh, absolutely. They apologized to the Bush family and made a big deal of it. But people have done other things too, like the Jason mask with it was the guy from Star Trek, and I'm so sorry.
Shatner.
Yes, Shatner. It was a William Shatner mask. And
Out, right?
Say that again.
I think it was Inside Out. I saw that before the last movie came out.
It was just painted alabaster white, and they used it. Yeah, it was really cool.
That's crazy.
So yeah, I love when you get backstories, and that's one of the things that is so awesome about the Lord of the Rings realm is that you get 12 hours of the back production of all the different things that they made. So yeah, you'll enjoy that. If you ever want it, please let me know. My wife would love for me to get rid of some of the copies of the videos that I have. I have way too many. So yeah, very cool. Yeah, so that was a nice surprise having Heidey here. Thank you for coming by. Are you looking forward to another trailer before the beginning of the series?
I don't know if I do. Like, I was very desperate for the first one just because I wanted to see something. But we're basically a month away. I think I'm good. I think we've seen enough. Anything else would probably be below 30 seconds. I would enjoy.
Well, what's so really, really, really strange is that since Monday the 4th, we've gotten the posters, the Entertainment Weekly article, we've gotten a trailer, and we've gotten the different interviews with some of the other stars. And I really think that that's going to continue all the way up until the 14th. Whether it's from George or...
I think that now we're going to start getting like those press junkets, them going, answering questions all over TV. Like, I think that'll happen like for the 2 weeks like before the season airs. We should start seeing them in late night and all that. But I mean, hey, it'll be funny to see 2 weeks of people saying they can't say anything because they really don't say anything.
I think there was a late night TV with Colbert where Kit Harington was on. I don't know if you saw that, but he's like, no, I can't, confirm or deny. I'm not going to blink. I'm not going to nod.
It's funny how they try to mix them up too. They try to actually get them to mess up, and they don't.
I'm sure they have experts on the questioning. Yeah, if we ask him about where he was on vacation last or something like that, maybe that'll give him a hint on where he was.
Colbert did it really good. The way he set him up at one point, he set it up, and I forgot exactly how he set it up, but he asked like 4 questions, and it led to like a really tricky one. And then he was like, "Oh, you thought you were going to get me there." You know who also almost got something out of him? I think it's Rich Eisen. Rich Eisen.
Yeah, Rich Eisen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he definitely was really good. I think it was it Lena Headey he was interviewing, and he was like, oh this, and then like he was just looking down, and he didn't even make eye contact, so that when she answers it, she feels like relaxed, like it's very like nonchalant, very. And then she was like, "Oh, I see what you did." He was like, "Yeah, man, I tried." He was like, I didn't even like look up just because I didn't want to like stress you. I didn't want to freak you out. So it's oh man, somebody's gonna spoil something. Why doesn't Game of Thrones have a Mark Ruffalo or what you call it, Spider-Man? What's his name? A Tom Holland?
I don't know. I don't know what that means. I'm sorry.
Basically, they spoil everything in Marvel.
Oh,
they have to have like
I gotcha. I gotcha.
with them at all times. Like, it's funny. Have you seen Infinity War?
Oh yeah.
You saw the ending.
Yes.
Mark Ruffalo actually said the ending at an event. I think it was D23. He actually says, "Oh, everybody dies, or half of everybody dies, or something." And like you didn't. And then you see Don Cheadle. He's like, "Ha ha ha ha!" Like they just laugh it off.
Right. Right.
But then when you go see the movie, spoiler alert, people, a lot of people die. I'm not saying exactly, but you know, a lot of people went. So it is. Why don't we have somebody like that? Why can't it be like Jon Snow spoils something, or Sansa, or Sophie, or whatever? Like, I don't know, man.
I want them to hold off for the last minute. I really do. I'm hoping that we don't get, you know, the spoilers like we've gotten in previous seasons.
Oh man, yeah, that ruined
because it broke my heart because I'm like, should I watch it? Well, everybody's gonna watch it. Then I'll be the only one that's not gonna watch it. And then this whole FOMO thing comes about over my brain and I have to start fighting it, and it's not pretty.
You know, the worst part about having a YouTube channel are trolls. Trolls, I am armed. I have a full freaking sword and I'm not scared to use it. Yo, when episode 6 season 7 aired or leaked, I was like, I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. I'm not gonna watch it. I actually lasted 6 hours before I knew it. Then someone wrote me, Drogon dies. I was like, that's it.
No way.
I was like, that's it. I gotta go to full like Taken, and I gotta find this person and I gotta end them. Like, or I either have to watch this. And basically, I ended up going that route. I had to end up watching it, and it sucked because it was like a whole week before the episode was supposed to even air. It was like days. So it was bad, man. It was really, really bad. But thank God this season they haven't allowed any real plot leaks or anything to air out or anything.
Can you imagine the type of security they have to do that? Because you've been around film production locations and stuff like that, so you know that anybody can access it with a drone or like telephoto lens or whatever.
Like, it's crazy around here specifically. Around where I live, they film a lot of the Netflix Marvel shows, and they would just have like, you know, very nonchalant, not a lot of security. But then when you look at, like, I would imagine like a Game of Thrones, and in one of the Entertainment Weekly articles that they've released in the last like month or so, they have one about a helicopter and how they started freaking out that a helicopter had passed over, and they call like whoever's in charge of, like, you know, aviation in the country, and then they found out it was police, and you know, they were chilled about it, but they were like all freaking out that something leaked. I'm like, damn, that goes to show you how much work goes into this. Like, this is insane. So I'm proud of them. I'm actually kind of happy that they were able to hold it down with no leaks.
Yeah, OTDA reminded me that they actually have birds of prey, so they could take down the drones that are flying around there. That must have been quite an interesting training session on how to take down drones. Exactly. Orel's eagle. I don't know if you've ever seen a harpy eagle's claws or talons, but they are huge. They cover pretty much a whole head. So I can imagine if they used one of those, it would be epic.
I've seen some big birds snatch up like pretty decently big dogs, probably like 60-pound dogs. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, like that is terrifying. Because you don't think that they would be able to actually pick it up. No, they could. And they dig those talons in. Man, I don't even know how you would train a bird to do that, to not go for like the blades or whatever.
Frank Markopoulos is here. Thank you so much for coming, my friend. I am so sorry to hear about your channel. I don't know if you got my message, but make sure you stay in touch. Frank is a great narrator and has done a lot of epic work on his channel. And he just recently was demonetized. So I definitely want to hook up with you and get together. So make sure you look in the about section. You'll see phone number, email address. I'm on Twitter and also Instagram, Facebook. You can contact me in any of those places, Frank. Love to get together and do some great. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, sorry. It was they put something in the chat. That's why I'm laughing. It's not about sorry about that.
Yeah. No. What was so funny? Tell me.
No, Chrissy of Old Stones says that a hawk needs to snatch up the chihuahua in my house that hates me. We have a chihuahua and he hates me, and that should make me. He's evil. He hates me, and he hates my sword. So yeah.
In your house?
Oh my god, yeah. It's like my mom's chihuahua.
Oh, nice.
His name is No because he's bad. You
always have to tell him no.
Yeah, man. It's really bad. Like he really hates me. I have to have him locked up when I'm streaming because he will make all the noise in the world.
He just wants to sit on your lap, Ray.
No, he wants to bite my face off. That's what he wants to, but he can't reach me.
It's little ghost. That's what you got to.
Oh my god! It's funny. I was thinking about that after I got this. I was like, I should probably like take a photo with him, like this little chihuahua. But he has crazy eyes, man. He does not mess with me. So
the views of Rayz De Alba does not mention any violence whatsoever on the AU Pack Meal channel. Oh, that's funny. Yeah, it's I work with residential people all the time, and when I go to their houses, I just love all the dogs. It doesn't matter what size. So it's so much fun. I think dogs are really cool. So I would get along with your dog pretty well.
I wish he liked me, but the thing is, he just doesn't. Like he's just not that into me, man. He really dislikes me. He loves anybody except me. I think he has dreams and nightmares of me getting away from him, like me just like running and him like unable to catch me. Those are his nightmares. So yeah, I'm not even exaggerating. He really dislikes me.
So if he was one of the direwolves, which one would he be?
Shaggy Dog.
The wild one?
Yes.
Is that why?
Yes. He is wild. He has crazy eyes and he's abusive towards me. I can't go to the fridge. I can't play video games, can't watch movies, can't hug my mother, can't do anything. He hates me. I'm telling you, I'm not even joking. How I wish I were joking.
Things we learned about YouTube channel Rayz De Alba.
Yeah.
This is the content you can only get on AU Pack Meal.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Oh, I love it. That's awesome, man. So other than that, what else do you have coming up? I know your channel has been pretty busy lately.
Yeah, I have started uploading a lot because I kind of did have like a lot of off time. It's something that I think a lot of YouTubers go through. You know what I mean? Like there's times that you just have to take off like a break because it is a lot, especially like sometimes I get sick of hearing my own voice. But I'm actually kind of excited now that the season is actually here. So I have some videos coming up. I'll be streaming for the most part every Saturday. But hopefully I'm going to start having guests on again. And I'm just experimenting a lot, man, with my streams. I want to test that out. Having guests with all the layouts and stuff. It is a little bit of stressful on my computer, but hopefully soon we can have you on there too. I would really like to have you on, and it should be dope. I know you're doing all this streaming too, man. Shout out to you, man. Again, I know it's dope. I love streaming, but you're the real MVP, man. Like, yo, streaming 30 days, that is a task, friend.
Well, thank you, Ray. I tell this to everybody. I love doing it. I love talking about it. I love this show. I love the people in the chat, and it's just my pleasure. This is what I would do every day if I could do this for a living. I would definitely do it, but I do it for fun, and that's the joy I get from it. But yeah, I really wanted to say you inspire us all to up our game, if you will. Your OBS expertise is better than anybody's. Maybe on par with Don Willie does more work for his videos than anybody, I think, and gets the least amount of credit. But you on your live streams, you just do great. I love the music. I love the background. Everything you do has just been really dope, and just great job. I really do think that I would love being on your channel anytime, buddy.
No, yeah, what you call it, and it's dope to hear you that you like it, and everybody else like it's crazy how much work actually goes into it. But I mean, it's like you said, it's just so much fun, man. Sometimes just like streaming and having people like what I mean, just talk what you love like this, like I was saying earlier, this one thing that everybody likes that brings us all together. It's really dope. I love the community. You know what I mean? Everybody in the chat and everybody. They're just awesome, man. Like it's really, really dope. Like it's not even me being fake or corny about it. It's not like we're being fake. We legit love you guys. Like it's so dope that you guys come out and show support, and you also love the same things we love, and we could just hang out for a few hours. It's always awesome.
I couldn't agree with you more. You hit it 100% on the head, and that's why we do it. Because otherwise, we're just sitting here talking to me and you, right?
Yeah, no, I mean it's really like. Me and you talking is dope. Me and you and them. Oh my God, that's beautiful, man. That's just beautiful right there. I just love it. I just love it.
That's getting ice cream and cake, right?
I know, right? I ain't gonna lie, it's kind of hot in New York today.
Oh, I'm sorry. Really, is it hot?
It's kind of getting warmer. I actually have a fan on. I'm not sure if you
No way.
Yeah, but it's and plus I have this like LED thing pointing at me, so
yeah.
It gets a little bit on the warmer side, but I'm kind of wanting it to get here. You know what I mean? It's kind of been a little bit too cold up here. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's been cold for everybody. I've talked to, like in the beginning of this broadcast, we were talking to Jeff and JoJo from Idiot of the Day, and they were in Ontario and -10 on a regular basis.
Ooh.
It's like no, yeah. I don't want to hold that sword, right?
Oh my God! I'm just like the others, they're coming. Oh my God! Like having nightmares and flashbacks.
Yeah. Well, Ray, I definitely want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for everybody in the chat, everybody that's been hanging out this whole time, including Mo Castillo, T Baby, Catherine came in, Catherine Hardig, Chrissy of Old Stones. Thank you for being here. Jenny of Coldstone. Danny McKay, I think, was the first one here. Tina, Sarah, thank you for that super chat also. Proto Peach, Daryl Galt, the Imagination Realm, so many people. Just awesome. I don't want to miss anybody, but thank you again for being here. And I hope you'll come back tomorrow, 6 p.m. Eastern, for Gemma from Secrets of the Citadel, and then Wednesday we'll have Radio Westeros. Lady Gwen will be here, and we'll all say spoilers, all books at the same time. And then, of course, on Thursday, Emerald City Comic-Con. So hopefully you guys had a good time. You got anything coming up this weekend?
Yeah, I have a stream coming up. Like I said, I'm going to be streaming for the most part every Saturday, I think. Unless I say otherwise, I should be streaming. But yeah, nothing much. Just a lot on my YouTube channel. I have some videos coming out and stuff. Gotta get back to form and to shape for the season.
Yeah, it'll be here before you know it, and then it'll all be over, and then we'll be crying our eyes out about the ending, right?
Yeah, man. Oh God, that bittersweet thing. Like, I think it'll be sweeter than we think.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, again, thank you, Ray, for being here. I hope everybody had a great time. I know I enjoyed getting Ray's point of view and making all those dope comments, as they say. Thanks for sharing with your sword too. That's really cool. Hope you guys have a great day, and we'll see you again tomorrow.